going to share with you my multi-million-dollar idea that hit me probably about 20 years ago. I was so sick and tired of hearing we want to think about it. That's really great, Bill, but we've got to think about it. We make a habit of thinking about these things overnight, over and over again, and I was getting that for about the 10th time that week, and I, just out of the blue, I ripped a sheet of paper out of my pad of paper that I always have in front of me for notes, and I said, absolutely, a decision this important should be made very thoughtfully. And so I wrote things to think about, and I said, I'm going to make a list for you, and I underlined that at the top of the sheet. And I wrote, number one, obviously you will think about, can we afford this? And I wrote that down, can we afford this? Number two, you should also be thinking about, can we afford not to do this? Does that make sense? Number two, can we afford not to do this? Number three, you might think about, could we find a better company? So I write number three, and I write better company, question mark. Number four, you might even be thinking, can we find a better rate? And then nod, and I write number four down, better rate, question mark. I'll say, okay, number five, what else is there? And they usually say, well, that's pretty much it. Well, let me help you out with this a little bit. Let me go to number three, first of all. Can you find a better company? You have no idea how many thousands of hours of research have gone into finding the very best companies to service us through the Mortgage Protection Center. We have the best companies not only from the price standpoint, but from a service and integrity standpoint. And we've gone through the selection and we've picked 8 of the best companies. You've probably heard of all of them. So I'm going to cross that off if you don't mind, because we've done that for you. Number four, can we find a better price? And the answer is yes, you probably can. You have to get on the computer. You have to remember what this product is like. You have to describe all of the benefits and start your search. And it might take you a couple hours going through the thousands of insurance quotes you'll find online. The bottom line is you might save $1 or $2, but you're still looking at maybe apples and oranges, and you don't know much about the company that had the lowest price. Would you agree? That's not the issue, right? I crossed that off. I'll say, okay, let's go to number 2. Can we afford not to do this? We've talked about this extensively. You wouldn't even send this in if you had a ton of money in the bank and you could pay off this mortgage anytime you want. Is that correct? Correct. So I think that's a no-brainer. We crossed that one off. That's not something to think about. So that leaves just one thing. What can we afford to do? Now, I want you to notice that I did not say, can we afford to do this? I changed the statement. I said, what can we afford to do? And I point at number 1. 9 times out of 10, that brings up the discussion about what they can afford to do, and you close the deal. The last, at least 10 times I've used it, it has never failed.